Hello, welcome to today's reading from the Song of God. Thank you so much for joining me here, and welcome to subscribers and new viewers. Please take your time, relax, make sure that you are comfortable and that you have no distractions when you come into this space, because that will just benefit you so much more than trying to just soak up the information that you need to get clarity in your mind. And creating that space for perspective for yourself is really taking responsibility for your healing journey. And taking responsibility for something that you feel is not your fault is also a test and a lesson. There's Daisy dog next to me. A lot of people don't want to do that. And in the same vein, many think that love and being loving and feeling this love that we all yearn for and need is also the right kind of love. Because the love that we need to vibrate in, to be authentic and to understand the nature of God and the way of God, is a very different love to the love that we speak on a daily basis in random ways. The agape love that is taught in Christianity, and what I learned about when I was doing Bible study back in my early 20s, was probably the catalyst for me seeking that level of love that gives one true peace. That level of love that allows us to love ourselves and to give back to ourselves. So it's important that we get this perspective, as I say, by taking responsibility of the ways that we give love. And how do we practice giving love? What is our love language? Of course, there are a few love languages, and if you have an imagination or you're creative, perhaps you know of others. But it's always important to ensure that it's focused in the right direction, that you're discerning where your energy is going to give that love. But it's also just as important that when you're giving it, it would be just as much for yourself as for whatever else you're giving that love to. Because if you are not whole and healed, it's very difficult for you to give that energy to something else. And it could be for any living being, I guess, for any pet, or for a loving relationship, partnership, or even in the workplace, depending on the workplace, what that would be like to give different kinds of love in different aspects, but for you to understand the most important for yourself is to get yourself into that authentic vibration. So that's what I essentially practiced over the years. And the more I came into this realm of self-love and rewiring my attitudes so that I could serve and give all these different magnitudes of love to different people, and so my energy, I realized that real love is not what people are looking for. Real love to people that don't know what it is suffocating. Real agape, authentic, high vibrational frequencies to people that are carrying self-limiting beliefs and self-sabotaging themselves every day because they don't know how to love, or they think that they're owed it and entitled to it and really wouldn't bother to care or make any kind of effort for it. Well, it doesn't get returned, it gets obscured. It gets distorted. in our relationships. And that ultimately is what causes towers in our lives, tremendous amount of destruction in families and societies. We have it happening on a massive scale where we are being separated from one another when love is about unity, freedom, tolerance, respect, forgiveness. Also to be very careful how, as much as what we're trying to pull that love towards us, we're criticizing it every day. Love is not suffering, and when Jesus said, love your neighbor, what do you think he was talking about? Love your neighbor enough to help serve and create those offerings. Come, Daisy. Come on. Sit here, Daisy. Sit. The love that Jesus wanted us to experience with one another is like anything else that we can fathom. I think I mentioned in yesterday's reading how if we don't know this kind of love, how can we be acting in the nature of God? How can we have faith and talk in faith when it's just a word? And we often say, of course I have faith in God. And you get asked to do something for God. And all of a sudden it's a crazy thing to be doing. Like me. Pamela's crazy for what she does for God. But then I think I do know, after all the pain and suffering, what that true love feels like, what it's done in my heart and my soul, what it's still doing to repair the mind, what it is still doing to help me find a way back to myself after all the relationships that have hurt me so intensely, the people I just wanted to be kind towards and love. I wish I could go into the depths of that pain and hurt with you, but I've got to do things just as gently for myself and make sure that when I do talk about these deeper aspects of myself to help you with your own experiences and to give you the tools and techniques that you need, I need to make sure that I've dotted the I's and crossed the T's, so to speak, so that I am speaking from a place of forgiveness, as we all need to. So if you are critical, if you are blaming and shaming and condemning, I'm asking you to reel all of that back inwards towards the self. Take responsibility for just what you need to do for you. And be mindful, be kind. Okay. Today's reading on Monday the 20th of July. I am the source of all. From me everything evolves. Understanding thus, the wise, endowed with meditation or the proper attitude, worship me. With their mind and their life wholly absorbed in me, enlightening each other and ever speaking of me, they are satisfied and delighted. God is the source of all. The whole universe has issued from him as dream objects issue from your consciousness during dream, yet it remains within him, pervaded by him, essentially one with him. Nay, is he himself. The enlightened ones do not merely repeat these formula or think about these truths, but what they say and think is flavored by the nature of their own being. It is not the lips that utter the words or the brain that thinks these thoughts. It is the entire being which expresses the truth, for that being is steeped in the realization of this truth. The Lord is Lord of the universe. When you enter into the spirit of this teaching, your cheetah becomes totally saturated with God. The word saturated is highly inadequate because saturated means that there is a medium in which something else is held, whereas machita does not mean that. God is not a percept or a concept. When all mental activities cease and the unreality of the ego is realized, God reveals himself, and you realize that everything there is totally pervaded by him. When your whole being cries out that this is the truth, what happens to you is machita. So the enlightened person is silent, unless it be the divine will that he should teach. Amen. Such enlightened men, and I'm going to say now, and women, and whenever I'm saying men here, I believe and women have just as much power and authority when it comes to speaking truth from God, when it comes to channeling from spirit. These gifts are for everybody that is realized and that is practicing and that is devoted to doing this work every day. And I hope by being here with you that I'm helping you too, that it benefits you to do this work every day, no matter how much time you put aside, whether it's 10 minutes or 20 minutes, or if you're blessed to put at least an hour aside every day for yourself, morning broken up into half an hour morning and evening. But this is so important that you understand what is the distraction, what is holding you down into these lower levels of emotions that tend to attract entities and create so much negativity around you that it filters out into your life. And I think that the Matrix does well to keep us trapped in these lower levels, keeping the environment around us extremely heavy, which is really what I experienced this weekend. Okay. So the enlightened person is silent, unless it be the divine will that he should teach. Such enlightened men and women talk to one another, keeping one another awake and enlightened. To them there is absolutely no guru-disciple or teacher-taught relationship, but it is merely a case of enlightened persons talking about God. That is the spirit in which the Bhagavatam was narrated, and that is the spirit in which all the great ones assemble, singing the glories of God, without in the least considering themselves to be more enlightened than the others. In their eyes, it is simply two hands scratching two sides of the face. I feel like we have to do so much more to contain this gift of love from God when we have had so many examples of that love shown to us. It brings to mind, because I grew up in the 80s, all those amazing love songs that were so easy to sing to back then, and sometimes still creating that 80s playlist for the road trips or for lazy afternoons. Love has certainly changed its face over the decades, and I try extremely hard to practice this every day, taking these words of light knowledge into my heart space and allowing them to do the repair work, so that I can take responsibility of the love that I want in my life. I can make the choice of the value I'm going to be giving in relationships. And it's as much heart opening as it is a time to be more discerning and create the boundaries if necessary, so that you are protecting your heart, so that we are all taking responsibility for ourselves and meeting each other at that level that we want to be loved, at the higher level. Doesn't have to be right up at the top there, but we are trying to get there, and getting up there is really opening here. Okay, we're not all of a sudden gonna get what are those packs on the back of our backs with jet packs. That's where I was going with. We're not all going to be jet packed up into the clouds. Let's be realistic here. But we can feel lighter in love. Okay. It's up to you to create that internal space by creating the external space, and everything is done in stages. We have to experience something to be able to understand it better and to learn the lessons better. And I believe that we all have that ability. We all have spiritual gifts locked away, lying dormant, waiting for a catalyst. And if that catalyst is in the suffering, face the suffering. By my own calling to read this book, I'm here to connect with you, to attune you and your heart space in love. Please give me a thumbs up, comment, let me know how you're feeling, what you're up to, where in the world you're from. You're also welcome to email me, pamela@indiepam.com. Should you wish to receive your own PDF copy of this book, I can email it to you. Then you can refer back to it whenever you need to, whenever there's something that you don't quite understand. It's not all going to just all magically fall into place overnight. We are ascending to heal our earth, to be custodians, to be able to be generous with the handing down of gifts to the children of the future. And to make sure that things stay green. Green, this beautiful green color, is extremely soothing, scientifically and biologically soothing for the soul. So if you find yourself living in a metropolis, please do what you can to find the green spaces as often as possible. Take your shoes off, connect with our earth, receive healing through that electrical bond that we have. And even if I need to repeat it daily, I will, until you have this impressed for yourself. Okay, Please share this reading with anyone you think will resonate with it. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Sending you so much love. The divine in me honors the divine in you. Namaste. God bless you.